Welcome to Pathways of Blessings Network. We are delighted to have you join us today. In this video, we present a profound and uplifting message from one of the world's most dedicated, spirit-filled, and powerful ministers. This sermon is designed to inspire your faith, deepen your understanding of God's Word, and encourage your walk with Christ. So, settle in, open your heart, and prepare to be richly blessed by this transformative message. Enjoy and let the blessings flow.
Your best friend is planning your funeral while smiling at your birthday party. Not literally, but psychologically, emotionally, strategically. They're calculating how your failure benefits their success, how your weakness highlights their strength, how your setbacks create their opportunities. This sounds harsh until you realize you're doing the same thing to them, because that's what humans do. We compete while pretending to cooperate. The sooner you accept that everyone is fundamentally selfish, the sooner you can stop expecting altruism and start expecting excellence from the only person who will never abandon you, yourself. Marcus thought he had it all figured out. 20 years of friendship, business partnerships, shared dreams, late night conversations about changing the world together. Then came the moment that shattered everything he believed about human relationships. His best friend, his business partner, the man who stood as best man at his wedding, walked into that boardroom and voted to remove Marcus from the company they built together. Not because Marcus had failed, not because he had done anything wrong, but because it was profitable to do so. That night, as Marcus sat in his empty office, staring at the photographs of all those smiling faces, all those people he called friends, a truth hit him like lightning. A truth so profound, so liberating, yet so frightening that most people spend their entire lives running from it. The truth is this: no one is your friend. Not in the way you think they are, not in the way you need them to be. Now, before you dismiss this as cynicism, before you shake your head and think this is just bitterness talking, let me tell you something that will change your perspective forever. This truth is not your enemy. This truth is your freedom. This truth is the key that unlocks the prison of dependency that has been holding you back your entire life, you see. Most people live their lives like beggars, constantly seeking approval, constantly needing validation, constantly hoping that someone, somewhere, will finally understand them, support them, believe in them. They wake up each morning not asking, what can I create today? But who will approve of what I create today? They don't ask, how can I serve my purpose? But how can I please the people around me? This is not living, this is existing. This is surviving on the scraps of other people's opinions while your own potential dies of starvation. The word friend has been so misused, so watered down, that we call anyone who doesn't actively harm us a friend. We call people who share our coffee breaks friends. We call people who laugh at our jokes friends. We call people who attend our parties friends. But friendship, real friendship, requires something most human beings are not capable of giving: unconditional loyalty that transcends personal benefit. Human beings are wired for survival. This is not a flaw in our design. This is exactly how we were created. When push comes to shove, when circumstances get difficult, when supporting you becomes costly, most people will choose their own comfort over your success. They will choose their own security over your dreams. They will choose their own reputation over your truth. And you know what? That's perfectly natural. That's perfectly normal. That's perfectly human. The problem is not that people behave this way. The problem is that you expect them to behave differently. The problem is that you have built your life, your dreams, your confidence, your decision-making process on the foundation of other people's approval. You have made yourself dependent on something that was never designed to be dependable. I learned this lesson the hard way, just like Marcus did. I remember the day I realized that the people I thought were my closest allies were actually my greatest obstacles. Not because they were evil people, not because they hated me, but because they were human beings. And human beings will always prioritize their own interests when the pressure's on. The mentor who taught me this truth said something I will never forget. He said, son, the day you stop expecting people to be more than human is the day you become more than human yourself. What he meant was this: when you stop depending on others for your validation, you become unstoppable. When you stop needing their approval, you become uncontrollable. When you stop seeking their permission, you become unlimited. This is not about becoming cold or heartless. This is not about shutting people out or building walls around your heart. This is about understanding the true nature of human relationships, so you can engage with people from a position of strength rather than need. You can enjoy people's company without depending on their loyalty. You can appreciate their support without requiring their approval. You can value their input without surrendering your decision-making power to their opinions. But here's what happens when you truly understand that no one is your friend in the way you've been expecting them to be. You become your own best friend. You become your own strongest supporter. You become your own most reliable source of encouragement and motivation. And that, my friend, is where real power begins. Most people are terrified of being alone with themselves because they have never learned to be good company for themselves. They surround themselves with noise, with people, with distractions, because silence forces them to confront the reality of who they are without external validation. But the giants of history, the people who changed the world, the individuals who left legacies that outlived their bodies, they all understood this fundamental truth. Your greatest resource is not the people around you. Your greatest resource is the person within you. When you truly grasp this concept, when you really internalize this truth, something magical happens. You stop being a beggar and become a king. You stop being a victim and become a victor. You stop being dependent and become dominant. The shocking truth about human nature is not that people will disappoint you. The shocking truth is that once you stop expecting them not to, you become free to create a life so powerful, so purposeful, so extraordinary that their opinions become irrelevant. Rebecca discovered this truth in the most painful way possible. She had built her catering business from nothing, working 18-hour days, sacrificing her personal life, pouring her heart and soul into every event. When the business started flourishing, her childhood friend Maria approached her with tears in her eyes, begging for a chance to join as a partner. We've been sisters since we were 7. Maria said, I want to build this empire with you. For 3 years, they worked side by side. Maria was there for every celebration, every challenge, every late night planning session. She spoke about loyalty, about friendship, about how they would grow old together running their business empire. Rebecca trusted her completely, shared every business secret, every client relationship, every strategic plan. Then came the recession. Orders slowed down. Cash flow became tight. That's when Rebecca discovered that Maria had been quietly meeting with their biggest clients, offering them the same services at lower prices through her own secretly established company. When confronted, Maria didn't deny it. She simply said, business is business. Rebecca, I have a family to feed. In that moment, Rebecca learned what I want you to understand right now. Loyalty is not a character trait. Loyalty is a luxury that people can only afford when it doesn't cost them anything. When the sun is shining, when success is flowing, when everything is going well, everyone wants to be your friend. They'll cheer for you, support you, celebrate with you. But watch what happens when the storm clouds gather. Watch what happens when supporting you becomes inconvenient. Watch what happens when standing by you might cost them something they value more than your relationship. This is not cynicism. This is reality. This is human nature functioning exactly as it was designed to function. People are not evil for choosing themselves over you. They are simply being human. The mistake is yours if you expected them to be anything other than human. You see, there are seasons in every relationship, just like there are seasons in nature. There's the spring season when everything is new and fresh and full of promise. There's the summer season when the relationship is strong and productive and beneficial to both parties. There's the autumn season when things start to change, when the benefits begin to diminish, when the relationship requires more work to maintain. And then there's winter. Winter is when the relationship costs more than it produces. Winter is when supporting you becomes a burden rather than a benefit. Winter is when people's true nature is revealed. Most people are fair weather friends. They're present for the spring and summer of your life, but when winter comes, they suddenly remember urgent appointments elsewhere. They develop selective hearing when you need them most. They become mysteriously busy when you require their support. This is why building your life on the foundation of other people's loyalty is like building your house on sand. It might look solid for a while, but when the storms come, everything collapses. The psychology behind this is simple but profound. Human beings are motivated by two primary forces: the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain. When being your friend brings them pleasure, benefit, or advantage, They'll be the most loyal person you've ever met. But the moment that equation changes, the moment supporting you becomes painful or costly, their loyalty evaporates like morning mist. This is why people will promise you the world when they need something from you, but forget your name when you need something from them. This is why business partnerships dissolve when money gets tight. This is why families fall apart when inheritance is discussed. This is why friendships end when career opportunities arise. The people who hurt you the most are rarely strangers. They're the ones who knew you best, who understood your vulnerabilities, who had access to your trust. They're the ones who spoke about loyalty and friendship and unconditional support. They're the ones who made you believe that human nature could be transcended by emotional connection. But here's what Rebecca learned that night as she sat in her kitchen, staring at the business plan she and Maria had drawn together. The pain of betrayal is not in the betrayal itself. The pain is in the expectation that was betrayed. The pain is in the illusion that was shattered. The pain is in the dependency that was exposed. When you expect people to be loyal beyond their self-interests, you set yourself up for disappointment. When you depend on their support for your confidence, you make yourself vulnerable to their changing circumstances. When you need their approval to feel worthy, you give them power over your emotional state. But when you understand that loyalty is conditional, that support is temporary, that approval is fickle, you free yourself from the prison of expectation. You liberate yourself from the tyranny of other people's opinions. You become emotionally independent, psychologically sovereign, and spiritually free. The moment you stop looking outside yourself for validation is the moment you tap into the most powerful force in the universe, the unlimited potential that resides within you. Every great achievement in human history began not with external support, but with internal conviction. Every revolutionary idea, every groundbreaking invention, every world-changing movement started with one person who believed in themselves when no one else would. You have been conditioned to believe that your worth comes from other people's opinions, that your value is determined by external validation, that your potential is limited by what others think you can achieve. This is the greatest lie ever told, and it has crippled more dreams than any external obstacle ever could. Your greatest asset is not your network. Your greatest asset is not your connections. Your greatest asset is not who knows you or who likes you or who supports you. Your greatest asset is your ability to believe in yourself when belief seems impossible, to trust yourself when trust seems foolish, to bet on yourself when everyone else is betting against you. When you seek approval from others, you automatically position yourself as inferior to them. You make them the judge and yourself the defendant. You give them the power to determine your worth, your direction, your destiny. You become a slave to their changing moods, their personal agendas, their limited understanding of who you are and what you're capable of becoming. But self-reliance is not just about independence. Self-reliance is about recognizing that you already possess everything you need to create the life you desire. The creativity lives within you. The wisdom lives within you. The strength lives within you. The courage lives within you. Every morning when you wake up, you have a choice. You can either ask yourself, what do other people expect from me today? Or you can ask yourself, what does my higher self demand from me today? One question makes you a follower. The other makes you a leader. The mirror principle is this. You must become the person you've been waiting for others to be. You must become your own cheerleader, your own motivator, your own source of encouragement. You must learn to celebrate your victories when no one else notices them. You must learn to comfort yourself through your failures when everyone else abandons you. You must learn to believe in your dreams when the whole world calls them impossible. Champions throughout history understood this truth. When everyone told Edison his ideas were ridiculous, he kept inventing. When everyone told Oprah she was unfit for television, she kept broadcasting. When everyone told Disney his cartoons would never work, he kept drawing. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't need approval. They didn't require external validation to pursue their purpose. They understood that the opinion that matters most is the one you have of yourself. They understood that the belief that has the most power is the belief you hold about your own potential. They understood that the voice you must listen to, above all others, is the voice of your own conviction. When you develop unshakable confidence in yourself, when you build your self-worth on the foundation of your own character rather than other people's opinions, When you make decisions based on your internal compass rather than external pressure, you become unstoppable. You stop asking, will they accept me? And start asking, do I accept myself? You stop wondering, am I good enough for them? And start declaring, I am becoming everything I was created to be. You stop seeking their permission and start taking responsibility for your own greatness. This is not arrogance, this is not ego, this is the recognition of a fundamental truth. You are not here to live up to other people's expectations. You are here to exceed your own. You are not here to fit into their vision of who you should be. You are here to become who you were born to be. Thomas Edison spent countless hours alone in his laboratory, surrounded not by cheering crowds or supportive friends, but by failed experiments and broken prototypes. While others were out socializing, networking, seeking approval and validation, Edison was in solitude, wrestling with problems that seemed impossible to solve. It was in that isolation, in that silence, in that space where no one else's opinions could interfere, that he created inventions that would change the world forever. Edison understood something that most people never learn. Your alone time is your power time. When you are alone with your thoughts, your dreams, your vision, without the noise of other people's doubts and limitations, that's when breakthrough happens. That's when innovation is born. That's when your true potential emerges. Most people fear being alone because they have never learned to enjoy their own company. They fill every moment with noise, with distractions, with other people's voices, because silence forces them to confront who they really are beneath all the external validation. But solitude is not punishment. Solitude is privilege. Solitude is where genius, when people reject you, when they exclude you from their circles, when they fail to invite you to their gatherings, they are actually doing you the greatest favor possible. They are giving you the gift of uninterrupted time with the most important person in your life, yourself. They are forcing you to develop the relationship that will determine the quality of every other relationship you will ever have. Rejection is not your enemy. Rejection is redirection. Every door that closes in your face is forcing you toward the door that was meant for you. Every person who says no to you is clearing the path for the opportunity that will say yes. Every friendship that ends is making room for the success that will begin. The creative force that emerges when you stop seeking validation is unlike anything you have ever experienced. When you no longer need people to understand your vision, you become free to pursue it with complete focus. When you no longer require their approval for your decisions, you become free to make choices based on your potential rather than their limitation. This is where personal empires are built, not in boardrooms full of supporters, but in quiet moments of solitary determination. Not through consensus and committee, but through individual conviction and personal responsibility. Not by following the crowd, but by having the courage to walk alone until you reach the destination that was always meant for you. When you transform isolation into innovation, when you convert loneliness into laboratory time, when you use rejection as rocket fuel for your ambitions, you tap into a power that most people never access because they're too busy trying to fit in to stand out. Your breakthrough is not waiting for the right people to believe in you. Your breakthrough is waiting for you to believe in yourself completely, totally, without reservation or condition. Your innovation is not waiting for the perfect team. Your innovation is waiting for you to stop looking for teammates and start building the game that only you can play. The most powerful inventions, the most revolutionary ideas, the most transformative solutions have always come from individuals who learned to thrive in solitude, who discovered that their greatest collaborator was not someone else, but the unlimited potential that lived within their own mind and spirit. Stop waiting for people to give you permission to be great. Start giving yourself permission to build the empire that was always meant to be yours. David was 12 years old when his father abandoned the family, leaving behind nothing but empty promises and unpaid bills. His mother worked 3 jobs to keep food on the table, and there was no money for the things other kids took for granted. No new clothes, no fancy toys, no family vacations. While his classmates talked about their fathers teaching them to ride bikes or throw footballs, David learned to teach himself everything at 15. When other kids were getting driving lessons from their parents, David saved every penny from his part-time job to pay for his own lessons. When his friends were getting help with college applications from their families, David spent hours in the library researching scholarships and filling out forms alone. When graduation came and other students had families cheering in the audience, David's mother couldn't afford to take time off work to attend. Most people would have used these circumstances as excuses. Most people would have developed a victim mentality, blaming their lack of success on their lack of support. But David made a decision that changed everything. He decided to become the father he never had, the mentor he needed, the friend he was searching for. Every morning, David would stand in front of his mirror and have what he called his daily partnership meeting. He would look himself in the eye and ask, what does David need from me today? He would assess his goals, evaluate his progress, acknowledge his achievements, and hold himself accountable for his commitments. He became his own board of directors, his own cheerleading squad, his own accountability partner when David felt discouraged. Instead of calling someone else for motivation, he would write himself encouraging letters. When he faced difficult decisions, instead of seeking advice from others who might have their own agendas, he would counsel himself through the decision-making process. When he celebrated victories, even when no one else noticed or cared, he would take himself out for dinner and acknowledge his accomplishments. By the time David was 25, he had built a successful business, owned his own home, and achieved financial independence. But more importantly, he had developed something that money cannot buy: complete emotional independence. He had learned to be happy with his own company, satisfied with his own approval, confident in his own judgment. This is what it means to live as your own best friend. This is what it means to be emotionally self-sufficient. This is what it means to be psychologically free. Living as your own best friend means developing daily practices that strengthen your relationship with yourself. It means starting each day by checking in with your goals, your values, your priorities, and making sure your actions align with your vision. It means ending each day by reviewing your performance, celebrating your progress, and planning for tomorrow's success. It means making decisions based on your own wisdom rather than seeking consensus from people who don't understand your vision. It means trusting your instincts even when others question your judgment. It means backing yourself even when others bet against you. Most people cannot make a simple decision without conducting a survey of their friends and family. They cannot choose what to wear without seeking approval. They cannot pursue an opportunity without getting permission. They cannot even enjoy their own company without feeling lonely or incomplete. But when you master the art of self-partnership, when you develop the skill of self-counsel, when you learn to be your own source of encouragement and motivation, you become unstoppable. You become uncontrollable. You become unlimited. You stop waiting for the right people to come into your life and start becoming the right person for your own life. You stop looking for someone to complete you and start completing yourself. You stop seeking external validation and start providing internal confirmation. Creating accountability systems that don't depend on others is crucial for your success. Instead of relying on friends to keep you motivated, you develop personal rewards and consequences that keep you on track. Instead of needing others to celebrate your victories, you create rituals that honor your own achievements. Instead of requiring external pressure to meet your goals, you develop internal discipline that drives you forward. The freedom that comes from emotional independence is unlike anything you have ever experienced. When you no longer need others to make you feel worthy, you become free to pursue worthiness on your own terms. When you no longer require external approval to feel confident, you become free to take risks that others would never dare to take. When you no longer depend on others' support to feel capable, you become free to attempt things that others would consider impossible. This freedom is not about isolation or arrogance. This freedom is about choice. When you are emotionally independent, you can choose to enjoy others' company without needing it. You can appreciate their support without depending on it. You can value their opinions without being controlled by them. David's story didn't end with personal success. By the time he was 30, he had become a mentor to dozens of young people who, like him, had been abandoned by the adults in their lives. But unlike the traditional mentor who creates dependency, David taught them what he had learned: how to become their own best friend, their own strongest supporter, their own most reliable source of encouragement. He would tell them, I am not here to replace the people who abandoned you. I am here to teach you how to never need replacing again. I am not here to become the friend you never had. I am here to show you how to become the friend you always needed. Your legacy begins the moment you stop waiting for others to believe in you and start believing in yourself completely. Your impact starts when you stop seeking permission and start taking responsibility. Your empire begins when you realize that the person you have been waiting for, the person you have been seeking, the person you have been needing, has been with you all along. That person is you. That person has always been you. That person will always be you. The day you truly understand that no one is your friend in the way you have been expecting them to be is the day you become your own best friend in ways you never thought possible. The day you stop depending on others for your happiness is the day you become truly happy. The day you stop seeking external validation is the day you become truly valuable. Your life is not waiting for the right people to show up. Your life is waiting for you to show up as the right person for yourself. Stop waiting, start living, start building, start becoming the friend, the mentor, the supporter, the believer that you have always needed, because that person exists. That person is powerful. That person is capable. That person is you.